Welcome gamers to another review. Today I'll be reviewing Metaphor ReFantazio, the latest RPG from Studio Zero and directed by Persona 5 visionary Katsura Hashino. As one of the most anticipated releases of 2024, Metaphor ReFantazio has enormous shoes to fill, being the first original title from Studio Zero and Hashino's first major project after his departure from P Studio. Expectations ran high, with fans eager to see how Metaphor would stand alongside Atlus' other RPG juggernauts, this being Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. And in today's review, I have the opportunity to tell you why you must pick this game up. At its core, Metaphor ReFantazio tells a gripping and emotional charged story set in the United Kingdom of Ukraine, a land torn apart by political strife and social division. This game begins with the murder of the reigning king, a single moment that shatters the fragile balance of power and sends the world spiraling into chaos. And you, the player, you must take on the role of an unnamed protagonist, accompanied by a mysterious fairy companion, Gallica. And together you'll embark on a dangerous quest in order to restore the deposed prince to the throne. A mission fraught with deception, rebellion, and a conspiracy that runs deeper than anyone could have imagined. From the very start, Metaphor sets itself apart from Atlus' previous works by tackling weighty, real-world themes like discrimination, social stratification, and the immense difficulty of uniting departed factions in a fractured society. And while Persona focuses on intimate, character-driven stories, Metaphor broadens its scope, grappling with societal issues on a grander scale. It's a game that doesn't shy away from complexities, and its storytelling is both thought-provoking and unrelenting in its depiction of political intrigue. For me, one of the strongest aspects of the narrative is its refusal to offer easy solutions or simplistic morals. Instead, the characters are deeply flawed, their motivations often conflicting, and the game never forces you into a black and white moral framework. Every decision and every battle feel like a step forward in a world that struggles to find its way. And the game's central message, the social progression is hard-fought and painfully slow, resonates deeply. And the story's major villain, Luis, is an antagonist who could easily stand alongside RPG legends like Sephiroth and Kefka, as he's not just evil for the sake of it. His motivations are complex, and his actions are grounded in a terrifying logic that makes him all the more compelling. And one of the most striking aspects of this game is how it handles gameplay, particularly in the combat and character progressions. While the game borrows heavily from Persona and Shin Megami Tensei in terms of turn-based mechanics, it also introduces new elements that add depth and flexibility to the overall experience. At the heart of the game's combat system is the archetype system, and this functions similarly to a classic RPG job system. Archetypes are essentially character classes, and you can assign different archetypes to your party members, ranging from traditional roles like warrior, mage, and healer, to the more advanced hybrid classes, which are unlocked by developing relationships with allies. And these advanced classes aren't just more powerful versions of the base archetypes, they offer unique skills and synthesis attacks, which combine abilities from multiple archetypes to create devastating combos. And this system encourages experimentation and strategy, as you must always think carefully on how to best synergize your party's abilities to tackle the various challenges you face. And the press turn system, familiar to fans of Shin Megami Tensei, also makes an appearance in Metaphor, and allows you to gain extra turns by exploring enemy weaknesses. For me, this mechanic adds an extra layer of strategy to the battles, as you must not only choose the right archetypes for each fight, but you must also pay attention to enemy weakness and resistance. And the thrill of chaining attacks and strategically using the right abilities at the right time makes combat feel dynamic and rewarding, even in longer dungeons where repetition sometimes creeps in. But for me, what really sets Metaphor's combat apart from other Atlus titles is its real-time execution feature. While dungeon crawling, you can execute weaker enemies in real time without entering a battle screen, but only if your level is significantly higher than your foes. And this speeds up the exploration and reduces the grind that can often bog down JRPGs. That said, some of you might find that the focus on combat overshadows other elements of the game, particularly in the social aspects that have been a hallmark of Atlus' more recent titles. And while Metaphor emphasizes combat, it doesn't completely abandon the social elements that Persona fans love, as this game brings back the bond system, which of course allows you to build relationships with your party members over time. Much like the confidence system in Persona, improving these bonds leads to direct benefits in combat, unlocking new skills and advanced archetypes for your allies. And these relationships feel meaningful, as they add depth to the characters and gives you a reason to invest in the people you fight alongside. And this game also introduces kingly virtues, which are a set of 5 attributes that you must strengthen throughout your journey. These virtues function similarly to the personal stats in Persona, like courage or charm, and leveling them up unlock new dialogue options, story pathways, and even higher level bonds with party members. The system ties into the game's overarching theme of leadership and personal growth, and you're encouraged to develop your character's virtues to better unite their fractured world. And the Keller system, a staple of modern Atlus games, also makes a return. Time management is key, with players given a limited number of days to prepare for major story events. And during this time you can explore dungeons, complete side quests, strengthen bonds, or even engage in activities that enhance your party's combat abilities. The balance between dungeon exploration and social interaction is well handled, though some may feel that the game leans too heavily into combat, leaving less room for the kind of personal, everyday moments that made Persona so beloved. And from a presentation standpoint, Metaphor ReFantazio is a visual tour de force. The game's social world, inspired by the 16th century visionary artist Hieronymus Bosch, is a blend of fantastical and unsettling imagery that perfectly complements the game's darker themes. Each region of the game's world is populated by one of the 8 unique tribes, and each one has its own distinct culture and design aesthetic. This variety keeps the world visually fresh as you move from one region to the next, never knowing what wonders or horrors you might encounter. And the game's character designs are equally impressive, with the main cast standing out thanks to their striking outfits and memorable personalities. The art direction leans into the surreal at times, with enemy designs that feel like they've been plucked straight from a fever dream, but this only enhances the game's unique atmosphere. And while the soundtrack doesn't quite reach the iconic status of Persona's jazz-influenced score, it's still a beautifully composed accompaniment that fits the tone and pacing of the game. In my opinion, Metaphor ReFantazio isn't just a great RPG, it successfully fuses elements from Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and classic RPGs, and creates something that's wholly unique. Its narrative is rich with social commentary, tackling complex themes without ever feeling preachy or heavy-handed. Its combat system, fueled around the archetypes and the press-turn mechanics, is engaging and rewarding, and provide endless opportunities for experimentation. And while the game's focus on combat may not appeal to every Persona fan, those willing to embrace this darker, more strategic approach will find one of the most satisfying RPGs of recent years. For me, the game's a 9.6 out of 10, and it's a game I can not only recommend to RPG fans, but a game I can recommend to all gamers. If you've played the game, did you like it? Would you recommend it? Let us know in the comments. As always, thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.